The idea, insight, or secret you need for massive impact is just moments away. It's time to claim your career crown. The podcast where business owners and entrepreneurs share the keys to the kingdom to help you open the vault to your greater success. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Claim Your Career Crown. This is the podcast you want to be at. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck, the Strategic Sales Queen. And today I'm joined by our special guest, Khryzza. See, now I knew I was going to do that as soon as I started. Khryzza Kelley. So Khryzza, I'm so happy to have you here today. And we're going to be talking about bold leadership, how women turn purpose into profit and impact. And, you know, for all of you who've tuned in, many women in business struggle to balance purpose with profitability, often feeling they must choose between doing good and doing well. Khryzza, our guest, reveals how bold, values-driven leadership can transform that tension into strategy. And you're going to learn how aligning purpose with profit not only fuels impact, but creates a ripple effect that uplifts teams, communities, and industries. And I'd love to remind you, if you get a ton of value out of this episode and you love the show, please subscribe and give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate it. Now, Khryzza is an award-winning multipreneur, the 2025 eWomenNetwork Emerging Leader of the Year, and founder of 2 purpose-driven companies, CoWorq and Isla, I'm not sure, company. She's renowned for her Fortune 500 leadership and passion for ethical entrepreneurship. Khryzza is the go-to strategy for women founders who want to scale profits and teams with radical integrity, all while building businesses and changing lives that are as high-performing as they are deeply meaningful. Khryzza work is powered by a relentless belief in doing business differently, championing freedom, legacy, and impact for the next era of CEO leadership. Well, after all of that, wow, welcome, Khryzza. I'm so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here, Lynn, and I am just so honored to be on this platform. I've heard a lot of great things about all the great conversations and the great guests who were here before me. So I'm just so grateful and at the same time excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show, and I'm really want to sort of get into the beginning of what inspired you to start building your businesses that focus on passion and impact.
Thank you. Well, I think there's no better place to start than from my home country. I'm a Filipina, so I'm not sure if our listeners here can see the video, but I'm wearing a Philippine flag on my right ear and an American flag earring on my left ear. So being born and raised in the Philippines, I learned early on that at least in the Philippines, the opportunities are rare. You have to fight for it. You have to take it. And when you're already in a position of privilege, you have to create it for people who have less of it. So I think from my end, I have a business not because I just want to make money, but I want to make lives better for people with lesser privileges, lesser resources than me. And in 2021, that opportunity was presented to me because during the pandemic, a lot of Filipinos became virtual assistants, and a lot of businesses here in the US, in Australia, all over the world were also looking to outsource more and more because of the pandemic. But then I realized that a lot of virtual assistants were still getting paid $1 an hour. Even up until today, I still see job ads and postings, $2 an hour. And I think from my end, as a community leader, as an advocate, as an HR professional in my corporate career, I think that the people who are building a business should be treated well, should be taken care of, and that means having a fair and equitable wage. So that's what I do. That's what CoWork is.
Yeah. Well, and that's amazing. And I heard your story, of course, on the stage at the eWomen National Conference Icon. And I mean, I was just blown away. I was so inspired by you. So, you know, many women want to lead with purpose, but they struggle to make it profitable. And I'd love to have you share what problem you help solve for them.
Mhm. When it comes to turning purpose driven businesses to becoming profitable, it really is very difficult. I think it's because of the mindset that we have towards purpose driven businesses. We usually and we automatically think about it being a nonprofit, or we usually think about it from the POV of corporate social responsibility, meaning, hey, if you buy shoes from me, 10% or 50% of the profits will come to this blah 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 community. But it does not function that way though, because purpose is not about what you spend your money on after you make profit. Purpose is how you make your money. So purpose has to be ingrained in every step of your business, from hiring an employee, from looking for clients, from treating your clients, to shaping your product, developing your product. Every step of the way has to be purpose driven. And when you do it, don't just do it for marketing. Do it in a way that it truly is meaningful for both your clients, you and your team, and at the same time, the communities that you're also serving.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true because you can be purpose driven, and it could be that you install alarm system, but you're purpose driven because you want to create safety and you want people to feel um, confident and safe in their own homes and know how something will work if something goes sideways, right? I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do that, and yet you're still in business for a profit, but you really care about the people that you're serving in whatever you do. I mean, that was just one crazy example that
Yeah.
popped up in my head. So, but I think that this leads that these are not exclusive, that you can truly have worthy intent. You care about your clients, you care about servicing them, helping them, and creating that impact in whatever product or service you have, whether you're selling nuts and bolts or you're
Hmm.
selling sales consulting.
Hmm.
So, and that is that passion and that purpose, right? But at the same
Hmm.
time, you're in business to make a living, to grow your business, support your team, and then the
Exactly.
community. So let's sort of go into this a little deeper, because how do you help women leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, turn their vision into something that truly creates impact?
Oh, wow. It's a very complex question, and I think we don't have enough time. But I think to put it in a simple way, it is looking at all areas of your business. So, for example, from supply chain, right? So, for example, my second business, it's called Isla and Co. Isla and Company, and what we do is we support women artisans in the Philippines who are creating this handcrafted bags. Um, with regards to a company like that who sells tangible products in the supply chain, you have to ask yourself, are your supplies being sourced ethically? Are the people creating your products being paid equitably? Um, are the logistics, do you have less carbon footprint? Or do you have more carbon footprint than what is required or what is normal? With regards to the sales aspect of it, so moving from supply chain to sales, are you putting your clients in mind, your customers in mind? Is the price too steep, too high? What is the income? Because we also want to make sure that, yes, you're making money, but also we want to make sure that your products are being accessible to the people you're trying to connect with. And in terms of that, it basically all areas of the business: supply chain, sales, marketing. Marketing is another thing. I've seen companies, for example, who are in the fashion industry who said that their bags were created by an indigenous tribe in the Philippines. And I researched about it. My team researched more about this indigenous tribe, because this indigenous tribe is actually on the same island that I grew up on. And we discovered that this indigenous tribe that they were saying who makes their bags are still living below poverty line. And then they were selling their bags $200 a bag. So to me, if you're selling a single bag for $200 and your artisans are still living below the poverty line, that's just marketing. It's not a purpose driven business. So really looking at the business as a whole, people, process, system, profitability is what I'm helping women with in terms of transforming purpose into profit, because there really is a clear pathway. It's just making sure and being radically honest. I think that's really one thing that is a requirement to all of these. You can just say, oh, we're doing good, we're supporting a community, but like how? Like, for example, we're both women entrepreneurs and we're both in women business owners groups and networks, right? A lot of people would say, oh yeah, I support women entrepreneurs. And then when, well, where do you shop for holiday gifts? Like, where do you buy your stuff? And they will say, I bought it from TJ Maxx or I bought it from Walmart. And I was like, well, buy it from your fellow women entrepreneurs. You have to walk the walk, basically.
Yeah. No, and it's so true. I mean, there was a statistic recently that I heard, and I have no idea how the accuracies, but I'm just going to repeat it anyway. Was that if Americans took $40 of the money that they spent on Amazon and instead
Ooh.
purchase things from small businesses, they
Mm.
would generate $10 billion for those small businesses in the United States. I
Yep.
mean, which is, in the United States is run by small businesses.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a fascinating, like, wow. And so many of the things, these small businesses, they have websites. If you do the search, you can find them.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're not on Amazon.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, um, you know, I think there also comes down to a point that it can feel challenging for many women in
For
who
sure.
are in business, they're running their own business, when they are trying to capture this thought process to lead with purpose.
Hmm.
So, from your perspective, why, are they putting roadblocks in front of themselves? I mean, is it a mindset? Is it just that they're not approaching it from the right angle? Why do you think that there's a perception that this is a challenge?
Hmm. That's a very good question. I think number one is that there is a lack of, well, let me trace that back. I think because it's not the norm, right? We are I mean, even when I started my business, I'm so focused because I just learned what I learned from other entrepreneurs, from what my competitors are doing. It has always been like, oh yeah, you need to make this amount of money, call this amount of people, go to this event, or go, spend this much money on ads, blah blah blah. It was so transactional. We were raised, especially because business historically, entrepreneurs historically were men. I mean, it's a male dominated field. I mean, there's a lot of, even in my industry, outsourcing, it's a male dominated field. And we were raised to think like it has to be profit, profit, profit. And it's true, you need to make profit. But it also pushes us to, well, purpose is probably just for corporate social responsibility, for marketing, to show people that we're doing good while we're making money. But the thing is, studies show that purpose-driven companies who are very clear about their purpose and were able to communicate that purpose to their employees have higher retention rate in terms of employees, have higher retention rate in terms of clients, and have a 5x of revenue compared to their competitors. So it's not, to me, it's not even an option. It has to be the standard for any businesses, because to me, the purpose of every business is the same. Whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing, whether you're selling a product or selling a service, the purpose is the same. It is to make our clients' life better, and it is to make this world better. Because if we're not making our clients' life better and we're not moving this thing forward, making this world better for people who are here when we're not here, it's not a business. That's exploitation. And I think for far too long, a lot of huge companies have been so exploitative, including the industry that I'm in. That's why Filipinos are still getting paid $1 an hour. That's why um, a lot of our products are still sourced in China, and still sourced in Bangladesh, still sourced in other countries where even in the Philippines, artisans in the Philippines earn as low as $1 a day. So to me, I think it's time for a new ideology with regards to creating and building businesses. And that ideology is an ideology that has a purpose in the very beginning, not just an afterthought, not just from marketing.
Yeah. No, I think absolutely setting that up, and not just as lip service, but as actually part of your core identity.
Yeah.
of how you choose to do business,
Mm-hmm.
and how that really, the ripple effect that it has not only in your immediate community but across, longer across the globe,
Mm-hmm.
and how that change can build and build so that it becomes the norm
Mm-hmm.
instead of what we've had in the past. It's like just making a buck to make a buck and not thinking about
Yeah.
any other consequences of that. I mean, and there's always the stories, right? I mean, there's stories of big companies. I still remember, I don't remember, was it Firestone? It's one of the tire companies. This is many years ago, decades ago. But they thought,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we'll just save a couple bucks on these tires, and bought inferior, you know, um, raw materials, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they ended up having these tires that were literally like blowing out and killing people.
Oh
It
God.
cost the company millions of dollars to fix
Yeah.
something. I mean, and it damaged their reputation because they
Mm-hmm.
were trying to save a buck. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we hear about this all the time. I mean, there's a classic. This one I can definitely speak to very, very well. It's the United Breaks Guitars. If you've ever listened to that song, which is like 23 million downloads on YouTube, and it's hysterical, by the way. It's a great tune. It's a lot of fun. But this musician was traveling on United, and they literally saw outside the plane when they're moving, like the luggage, that they literally were tossing this in its case, but dropping
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, he gets
Oh God.
where he's going, and the guitar is destroyed, and he tried everything to get this resolved for them to
Mm-hmm.
replace his guitar, and
Oh.
they wouldn't do it, and let alone, I want you to think about the time that United is paying their employees to constantly have conversations about this issue,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was a musician. He wrote a song. He put the song out there. He ended up playing the song on Good Morning America, for God's sakes. And this song became a huge hit. It became a PR nightmare
Oh
for
God.
United. They literally saw a drop off of reservations,
Mm-hmm.
for, weeks because
Mm-hmm.
of this going viral, as it were, back in the day. And
Mm-hmm.
all because they just didn't. And the guitar company, when they found out about it, they gave him two brand new guitars. I mean, so it was sort of like it's, and it was a regular big name guitar company, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it was
yeah.
like a $3,500 guitar, but the
Mm-hmm.
amount of money it took them, and just him trying to negotiate them replacing the guitar for a year, they could have
Mm-hmm.
just paid and fixed the guitar,
Exactly.
because they're the ones who destroyed it. And it's the type of thing that people can be, it can be so short-sighted,
Mm-hmm.
and think about saving a buck, and but what that does to your reputation, what it does,
Mm-hmm.
actually what it really truly costs you. And it's the same thing with how you treat your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So I'm getting all passionate about this, but
It's true.
it's if you want engaged team members who, they're there because they share the values and the mission, and they want to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be making better decisions. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
working more attentively.
Mm-hmm.
They're fully engaged in their work. They're not just passing the buck. It makes a world of difference, in how your company performs.
Mm-hmm. It does. And I think sometimes when we talk about profitability, we always just look at, okay, what are the marketing strategies that are effective? What are the sales strategies that are effective? And yes, I mean, I'm doing my planning for 2026 with regards to sales and marketing. But I think like what you said, there are parts of the business that are so hard to quantify, but they are very, very impactful, especially with regards to people, the people that you employ in your business, your clients, or your suppliers, or your contractors, partners. People relations is really, that's why to me, I think I'm so excited whenever I see more purpose driven businesses popping up, more purpose driven brands popping up, because we need more of them. We need to normalize it. It has to be the new normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bring the human back into the business side of it.
Yeah.
So, why do you think, that the purpose driven, or values, your core values, are sometimes overlooked when building a business? and very closely related to what we've been talking about.
Yeah. I think it's because we are in an interesting social and political dynamics right now. It feels like nobody wants to feel like they're righteous when they put purpose in their business. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. It plain and simple. Whatever you believe in, I think it's just the right thing to do. I had a virtual assistant. She was working part time for one of our clients, and she's about to give birth. Now, in our industry, because they are independent contractor, usually we they don't have benefits. Like they don't have the FMLA like we have here. When you work in the corporate world, you're granted with the family and medical leave or maternity leave, or paternity leave, right? But in the outsourcing industry, we don't have that. So me and my client we were talking like, hey, normally this is not a norm. Like we don't really do this, but I'm gonna shoulder it. I'm gonna pay this virtual assistant won't be able to work for a month or for actually 2 months because of the maternity leave, but I'll pay her regardless just because it's the right thing to do. And I did not even ask my client to pay me. I just took it from our pocket. And that virtual assistant is still with us years after as that happened. The client is still with us. And how much did I really pay looking back in terms of client retention, VA retention, referrals from my clients, referrals from my VA? It's a longer, like I think we talked about this before the podcast started. It's a long it is a long-term relationship that we're building. So looking back at why sometimes it's overlooked, because I feel like we get stuck with realities of it all, and just I think we just need to go back to asking ourselves what really is the right thing to do. I mean, sourcing your products ethically, hiring your people equitably, treating your clients right, listening to your clients, listening to people, listening to the community. What do they need? Those are the right things to do, regardless of the time, regardless of whatever it is that we believe in. And I think that's the most important thing. We just need to go back to that, hopefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that story. I mean, it was made total sense. And, it's sometimes I think people get so caught up in just the immediacy and the short term. It's like a click world, and yet
Mhm.
that is, it doesn't build the type of momentum and the real strength that is going to serve you in your business over the
Mhm.
long haul. So, for the women who are listening in, for anyone who's listening in, uh, who want to build with purpose, so the women and men, and what's one step that they can take right now, today, or this week to get started?
One step that you can take right now is looking at your business, all areas of your business, meaning if you look at it from a point of view of a CEO, all departments of your business, HR, marketing, logistics, supply chain, operations, finance, all aspects of your business. And ask yourself, am I doing all of these, the processes entailed in these departments, am I doing it with purpose? When I look at, for example, for the finance side of things. I have a client who lost her client and won't be able to pay us, won't be able to pay our virtual assistant, won't be able to pay me too as the company owner. Um, and instead of me following the protocol of like, you know what, three strikes, you're out. We're no longer going to give you your assistant, or we're no longer your client. I just jumped into a conversation and said, okay, where are you now? What is happening? Tell me everything because it's not black and white. I can work because I'm here to support you at the end of the day. And it's the same thing, just doing the right thing. So if there are things that you think are not in alignment with who you are, with what your values are as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as a man, as a human being, maybe you need to close your look because that's your signal if you're not purposeful or if your business as a whole is lacking purpose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate that story as well, because sometimes, those things, they just happen. And
Mhm.
so maybe you won't be able to continue to do work together, but you can still, get on the phone and give them some support, give them some
Exactly.
ideas, to try to, help them get back on their feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Khryzza, this has been such a great interview. Is there anything
Yeah.
you wish I'd asked you? Maybe something you really want women leaders to know about this journey of purpose and incorporating that into your business? Anything at all?
I think if there's one thing, number one is that your values will be consistently tested. Consistently tested. Um, and I think that's one of the things why not a lot of entrepreneurs are very open about the purpose of their business, the values that they have, is because you're going to be consistently and thoroughly tested. I had to fire one of my business partners. I had to fire a client. I had to fire an employee. And in all of those three things that are so difficult for me to do, I just look at my values and I was like, because this is what I value, that's why I'm doing this. There will be more times where your values will get tested, not just about firing people, but also about sticking to the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Sticking to the purpose that you said that you have, it's going to be thoroughly tested. And I think more than that, it's also going to be thoroughly tested by people who don't believe you. And I think if there, I have an advice for that is, you know what? Don't entertain them. I think I learned this from Sandra Yancey. Don't even entertain the people who are so committed in hating what you do. Like they are not your people. Go look for your own people because they are there, ready and willing to support you. Go talk to Lynn, basically.
Well, and it's true. I appreciate what you're saying that because you are going to be tested on a regular basis. And sometimes you're tested with, certainly, as a sales strategist, I can be tested by somebody who I know is not a good fit,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, no, nah. Yeah, this is a no offer situation. And you can actually have somebody like who's literally wants to hire you no, I know we're not going to be a good fit. Like somebody who's a one call closer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about the relationships, but
Yeah.
so there are times when you can recognize that, and you're being tested because it's like, oh, well, this would be a sale and all this, but it's like you also have to look at sometimes those bad clients that can actually
Yeah.
suck up 80% of your time versus your really good clients who are 80% of your volume. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to really, I think that's a really good point. And you're going to be tested in so many other different ways. So, wow, that was a brilliant way to end this. Khryzza, thank you so much for sharing bold leadership, how women turn purpose into profit and impact. I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and how they can connect with you and get more information.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do have our website. It's coworq.co, COWORQ.co. And then I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I am not on TikTok. I know I have to be there, but I'm I'm Khryzza. You can find me Khryzza Kelley in those, but I am so excited to hopefully hear your stories too about what really is your purpose in your business. Who are the communities that you're serving? Who are the people that you're serving? And let's chat because I think there's so much space for all of us purpose-driven business owners, and there has to be more of us. So let's work together and let's get more people on board.
Woohoo! Well, and thank you so much to all of our audience who tuned in today. This has been really a great interview. And Khryzza, thank you so much. I truly appreciate your being here.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you everybody for listening.
What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? I would love to hear about it. It's important to share the things you love. If you loved this episode, a 5-star review really helps keep the podcast coming to you regularly. Also, if you want to get more sales strategies to grow your business, make sure you subscribe right now. If you want to get results even faster, I invite you to download my sales strategy checklist at petitetoqueen.com/checklist. This has been Lynn Whitbeck, host of Claim Your Career Crown. I'll see you next time.